Good evening. It is, am I coming in too loud and clear? You'll want to be facing this general direction as we get started. Welcome to St. Stephen's. I'm Susan Anslow Williams. I'm the rector, which equals pastor, which in some traditions is minister and other places priest, here at St. Stephen's. And it has been our joy here to be part of the Troy Interfaith Group for, since its founding. Jonathan Sams, my predecessor, was part of that initial group. And it is also a blessing as part of the Episcopal tradition to be very much in dialogue and respecting other faith traditions. And it is just honoring the traditions around the world and realizing that God speaks to us in many, many languages, in many ways, with many kinds of music and prayer. And it is our joy to learn from one another. Not with judgment, but with openness. So it is in that spirit and tradition that we're hosting this series. And I am especially grateful to see friends from a number of places here with us, not only our speakers, but their family members and friends and congregation. And it is a treat, and I hope you'll invite more to come next Thursday and the Thursday after that. The little salmon pieces of paper, I can make some more in the midst of things if we ran out. This is wonderful to run out. Describes not only our speakers this evening, but on the back is the schedule for the remaining series. So be glad to give you more of those to pass around to your friends. We also have some name tags around that I hope we'll all get one on eventually, so when we have time for fellowship and discussion, that will be helpful. Our first speaker is Anjali, is that Vale or Vale? Vale, who comes to us from the Hindu temple just up Adams. And our topic this evening is the divine. How do we speak about the divine? And I'm very grateful to invite Anjali to the podium. Thank you. You're just a little bit.
I know, I mean,
just a little.
Thank you all for inviting me here. Again, my name is Anjali and I'm from Hindu faith. I grew up in India basically, and again, Hindu faith is kind of just to give, I know, it's easy to grow up in, but sometimes very hard to describe. Because it's very, from my perspective, it's very liberal religion. It's not very structured as some of the other religions. We don't have like a book or set of rules to go by. Okay, so I know I just made a simple presentation, and I thought maybe it's easier to kind of put the points. Since we have the topic of God, when I started thinking about it, what is God? In my view and the way I grew up, I again grew up in liberal home. My parents, my mom is a doctor, my dad is an engineer, and never forced us to do really anything that we didn't want to do, or more ritual or those kind of things. So it was very easy to kind of, they never kind of force the ideas. So it was open for discussion and anything of those sort. So when I think about God, or read about God, that's what it is. God is a like consciousness, a spirit, or a realization. Now, when we put the God in any form, a deity or picture, we are trying to limit the God, and that's because it's our limitation, not God's limitation. So we are trying to put some form to around it. So. On the other hand, you need the faith. That's for sure. Doesn't matter whether you believe in the formless God or whether with the form. You have to have faith to do anything. That's the basic concept. Okay. Now, there is a simple definition I came across one time is generator, operator, and destroyer. That's the definition of God, God. And in even Hindu religion, we have a trinity called Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. I was trying to put the picture there, but I forgot. But Brahma is, we believe, is the creator of this universe. The Vishnu is a God who reincarnates to make sure the peace sustains on the earth. And the Shiva or the Mahesh is the destroyer, because anything that gets destroyed regenerates back. So that's regeneration and generation cycle. So that's where the Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh Trinity form is. Okay. Now, some of the facts about Hindu faith is one of the oldest faith, and no person has created this religion. It's like a group of thoughts and sages coming together, and it became a religion. It's also called as a way of life. So there are, if you have been across Indian Hindu people or been to India, you will see a lot of diversity. People from different states speak different languages. They believe in the same thing, but the way the culture and the religion comes together is very interesting to see. And it's kind of gives a different picture when you come across different Hindu people. Also, it's called as Sanatan Dharma, which is again is eternal law or eternal dharma, which is kind of everlasting. It goes on and on and on, kind of thing. It doesn't die out. That's what the eternal Sanatan Dharma means. Okay. Continuing on that one. Now, when we talk about God, Hindu faith believes each soul is divine. So each of us actually has divinity within us. So when we meet actually anybody in temple or anywhere, we say namaste. Now, when namaste means you are divine, I am divine, and I am bowing to your divinity. So when we say namaste to a different person, we put the hands together in the namaste mudra, and then we put our heart and we kind of bow to the other person. When we do the same to the God or temple, we kind of actually even go down and put your head across the deity, which is kind of complete surrender. That was the namaste means to God, and that other means the namaste means to individual. Okay, so that is the concept. Is like divinity is within each person, not in just God, but God is in you. That's the kind of concept eventually the Hindu faith believes in. Okay, go to the next. Swami Vivekananda, he's one of the saint, or he came to actually United States in 1893. He was a philosopher and he was a monk. And the message was pretty clear from his all his speeches, that each soul is again potentially divine. So each of us have divinity, but we have to manifest it. We have to realize that divinity, and that's where the whole work of working on ourselves, working on individuals. That how do you manifest that divinity? How do you realize it? And then once you realize it, you don't need to have the form or deity in front of you to worship. Okay, so basically he's saying, okay, each soul is potentially divine, and the goal is to manifest the divinity within by controlling internal, external things. And he has put together all different paths to define that. You do karma yoga, which is the path of action. You do your work as you think that your work is a god, and you worship that. So you basically give up everything for that work without expecting anything. You do the yoga of knowledge, gain the knowledge and distribute that knowledge. That is again same as worshipping to any deity. Bhakti yoga, which is a devotion. Anybody going to a temple and surrendering to God. That is one type of again yoga, which is uniting with that divinity. So there are 4 paths that is defined. You can be God and become God, and as close to God as you can be. So this is basic thing which is again by Hinduism. Now again, lot of ways Hinduism is very diverse, and it lets you worship the God as you want. If you want the God to be a female form, there are female goddesses. If you want the God to be in male form, there is a male god. So again, it's kind of, I guess, gives you more opportunity or liberal way of look at the God. Its main purpose is to worship and eventually realize the God. But how you want to do it, again, it's up to you. You can do it in your house. You can go to temple and do it. Most of our Hindu houses have altar in the homes, and we do every day what we call is puja, which is like again have small deities, and you put the kumkum like this, put the flowers, put lights, essence, everything, same thing what we do in temple, in the bigger scale in the temple. But again, we do it every time in the home. So again, the way you worship it is up to you. You can put 10 minutes or you can put 2 hours. Anything is okay as long as you do it by all your heart. Okay. Now, main other thing is the God is infinite. Now, when you say infinite, it's very hard to kind of visualize that. So that's where the form and attributes come into picture, because it's very hard for normal or most of us to sit in the room without anything and worship. So you need some kind of picture, sometimes some deity to worship. So Hindu faith again realizes both form, without form, or with form. Either way you can worship God and still you will reach that stage of realization, and that is perfectly acceptable, I guess. Okay. And the last sentence, I kind of read across and I thought, yeah, that makes sense. We are not just human being having a divine experience, but we are divine being having a human experience. So basically all of us are divine, but we have somehow kind of forget this thing in day-to-day material world. When we go around doing our chores, we forget about all those things, and we kind of keep practice of spiritual in one part of the kind of 10 minutes practice, and rest of the 24 hours or 23 hours we do something else and we don't even think about it. So you want to kind of merge that both the part together and think about each of us how we can realize that divinity within us. That's the main essence of, I think, Hinduism. I just put some pictures from our temple. Now, if you look at our temple, there are a lot of deities. The middle one is again Vishnu, which is again the main deity of this temple. So there are different deities in the temple, and we usually have nice costumes, ornaments, jewelry. We'll have a lot of flowers, because everybody wants to see a beautiful God. So that's you try to make everything beautiful, colorful, nice smell and essence, so it makes it more, I guess, fresh and wonderful looking kind of thing. So a lot of things in Hindu faith are symbolic. So if you look at this Ganesha, again, Ganesha is the god with the elephant head. Okay. Now, why I put Ganesha is this is the very important god in Hindu faith. This is always worship first. First god this is to worship, and then they go to worshipping all other deities. Now, concept of all other deities, still there is only one god. You can have different forms, but this is still a one god, even encompassing all the gods. Okay. Now Ganesha, if you look at all the different features or attributes of this particular deity, now this is elephant, so you can see that it has a big ears, so you listen more. So these are the different qualities that when you worship a deity, you should actually meditate on these qualities and just go beyond that, the figure or the deity. That's what the actual worship should be. So when you look at the deity, okay, big head, so think big, listen more. Now you have X in your hand, so which is like cut your attachments and try to get away from all this world and try to be detached and look at the world. So all these different forms or the attributes of every god tries to show us different attributes of the god and try to tell us that, okay, apply in your life. That's what the worship is. It's not just rituals and not just looking at the deity, but go beyond it and get those qualities within you. That's what the God is, and that's what the realization is. How am I doing with the time? Okay. So, yeah, again, these are ways the Hindu faith basically goes by. There are many paths, still a destination is one. God is one. No matter what God you worship, whether you worship Shiva, Ganesha, Allah, Christ, no matter what, we all believe still is one God. You can go by any path and you will reach the same destination. Again, truth is one, you see it in different ways, which is again perfectly acceptable. And the Hindu way I was looking at it is ultimate goal of human being is to be one and then attain nirvana, which is salvation. Okay, try to understand the desire, attachment, and try to get away from it and understand the true meaning of the life and going beyond it.
For each one.
Thank you.
Thank you.